In the modern age, wine is a universal beverage. What I mean by that is you're hard-pressed to visit a country, especially a Western country that's within the latitude bands for winemaking, that doesn't have some sort of unique culture or history related to wine. But while almost every country has their own relationship with wine, it's not always a great one. Take America as an example. Plenty of wine regions and plenty of respectable winemakers, but it's still an absolutely ass-backward industry fueled by money-hungry conglomerates that literally profit off of our fears and insecurities. America has a broken relationship with wine, but that's another film. Literally, it's another film. What breaks a country's wine industry can be idiosyncratic, but more often than not, it's driven by cultural factors that lead to legislative action, like prohibition. For instance, countries like Iran, Libya, and Bangladesh, they all have bans on alcohol in general. Full stop. When prohibition isn't the issue, sometimes climate is, or competing beverages, or trade regulations. There are a million reasons why a country's wine industry may not work, but I want to dive into a few reasons why some countries have wine industries that do work. I'm standing in the countryside of Italy, a country known for some of the best wines in the world. A country with one of the most active and robust wine industries to ever exist. And for the rest of this film, all we're going to talk about is what Italy gets right. To understand why Italy's wine industry works so well, you have to understand Italy. Thankfully, that's not as hard as it sounds. The heart and soul of Italia is simple. In fact, it's as simple as one word: food. People love to eat here. People love to eat and they live to eat. And they live to drink. But don't take my word for it. Let's sit down with an Italian chef here in the heart of Florence and get his take.
We work a lot in this restaurant from the good combination from food and the wine, because for our culture, it's very, very important. It's impossible for us to eat something beautiful and perfect without wine. In our culture, we need just the wine at the table. And the good match from these two things is very important for us, because usually for our idea, the protagonist was the food. But near the food, we need a good wine, because if you have a good wine, the food is perfect. Yeah. If it's not the good match, it's possible that you don't understand the perfect idea from the dishes.
Yeah. Everything we just heard is kind of contradictory to what the average American lives and believes. They eat to live. We can see the proof in the hyper-economical Wendy's and McDonald's and what? I can't say fast food, convenience stores, mega chains. The culture is based around quantity over quality. And Americans have not only tolerated bad food, we invented it. Why are we talking about food when this film is actually about wine? Because in Italy, the two are inseparable. It ultimately boils down to how much does it matter to you what you put in your body. Be it coffee, better in Italy. Food, way better in Italy. Desserts, better in Italy. And of course, wine. In Italy, they do not tolerate bad food. It's a common saying that even the poor in Italy eat well. Most of what you eat comes from nearby. And as a result, it tastes better, it's better for you, and it's better for the environment. For example, there's no seafood as a part of the Florentine diet because the ocean is too far away. To be exact, the ocean is only 50 miles away. Just for your visual benefit, this cork is about 10 miles, and we're gonna show you on the map. So this is in kilometers, so about 14, 15 kilometers. Here's Florence. 1 cork, 2 corks, 3 corks, 4 corks, 5 corks. 50 miles to the ocean. And there's no seafood as a part of their diet. It's a radically different viewpoint on the word local, and the same is true of wine. Most of the wine you'll drink in Italy comes from near where you are. I'm on a vineyard in the Florentine countryside, and most of the wine that's made here is going to be consumed here and in the surrounding areas. Of course, in higher-end restaurants or in specialty wine stores, you can find wines from other regions. It's tough to find wines from other countries. But at your local trattoria or bar or market, it's pretty much exclusively wines from the area. Now, is this perfect? No. Ideally, there would be a more diverse market where you could easily try some of the wonderful wines the outside world has to offer. But is this saturation worth it to have some of the highest quality wines that insignificant money could buy at your fingertips? It's a hell yes for me. When wine doesn't have to travel far, two important things happen, or rather don't happen. The price doesn't augment, and there are less additives and preservatives needed. Here in Italy, I can spend €3, €4 on a glass of wine, and it will be healthy and it'll be good. Obviously, this concept of a glass of wine for $3 or $4 and it being good is kind of mind-blowing by American standards, but this is what I mean when I say the wine industry in Italy actually works. Because people care so much about what they put in their bodies, the economic system adapts around that as a priority. If good wine were to become unaffordable here, the economy would collapse. You think I'm kidding, but I'm being serious. Good wine, good coffee, good food is viewed as a fundamental human right. And so the country goes about creating a reality where that is the case. Wine in Italy is an everyday thing. It's part of the daily routine. It's not an overly glorified fancy thing, it's for everyone, every day. And because that's the case, it needs to not only be good tasting, but also good for you. In order to achieve that, it means not adding a bunch of crap to the soil. Well, actually, you do add literal shit like manure to nurture the soil, but you get my point. Because what ends up in the soil ends up in the plant. And what ends up in the plant is in the grape. What's in the grapes ends up in the bottle. What's in the bottle ends up in your glass. And what's in your glass ends up in your body. Responsible farming and winemaking result in better quality wines that are better for you. Manufacturing a better, healthier wine industry takes work, but it isn't impossible. It starts with the consumer and what we're willing to tolerate. For example, as a younger generation of Americans return to a state of being health conscious, the industry is adapting and providing more options for biodynamic and natural wines. Never ever settle. You deserve good wine, and with time, we can make it easier to find and more affordable. Italy's incredible wine culture didn't form overnight, so let's be patient and consistent with the change we want to see at home. Until next time, cheers. Plenty of respectable winemakers, but it's still an ass-backwards industry field. Not like this. Here, all right, I'm gonna get it. Ready? Take America as an example. Plenty of wine regions, plenty of respectable winemakers.